everybody, Mark, aka the Nerdy Punk, back again today for a new video. Happy Sunday and happy October. I just got finished watching my Chicago Bears blow a 21-point lead to the Denver Broncos, one of the worst losses in my lifetime. So it was not a fun afternoon for me. Broncos fans, I'm sure it was a fun afternoon for you guys. I hope you got, regardless of whether you watch football or at all, I hope you all had a great Sunday afternoon and are going to enjoy your Sunday evening as we prepare into the work week. With the new month, of course, it's once again time to recap everything that I watched and logged onto Letterboxd in the previous month, which was September of 2023. It's been another month in between videos. Apologize about that, but things are going to pick up very soon on the channel. So I kind of knew, starting the school year as a teacher, you expect that August and September are going to be busy months, and it always is for me, and I never get hardly any videos out in August and September. Once again, I apologize for those that enjoy the videos, but life just gets hectic for a while there. Now that we're kind of accustomed to being back and I'm accustomed to working every day, I can kind of budget my time a little bit more for the videos. Plus, there's a lot more going on in the world of movies in the next coming months that I'm really excited to cover on the channel. So of course, October, it is spooky season. Doesn't really feel like it outside. It's like 85 degrees, but I think fall weather is coming very soon to the Midwest, at least. And it's finally time to dig into some of my favorite horror movies. So I want to do some horror themed videos in the next coming month. I'd like to do like a Scream Factory collection because I've never done that before on the channel. I think that would be like a cool little idea of, some horror content to bring. And then of course I am doing a spooky season marathon. I've already watched 2 movies that kind of fit the spooky season theme this year, and I'm excited to add upon that list in the month of October. All right, with that being said, if you guys are excited for any of that content, definitely subscribe so you're up to date. Let's get into the 5 movies that I watched in September. If I had kind of like a sad sound to play, I would, because 5 is not a lot of movies for an entire month. I had a bit of a dry spell. So the first movie that I watched was Climax, which is from 2018, directed by Gaspar Noé. What I will say is, although I only watched 5 movies, it was definitely quality over quantity this month. This is a fantastic film by Gaspar Noé. This is my first film of his that I've seen, and he is I believe, Argentinian filmmaker. I think he does most of his work out of France these days, but he is very, very kind of highly regarded amongst, people that like cinema that kind of pushes the envelope a little bit, that's not afraid to take risks, and that's certainly nothing you would ever accuse Gaspar Noé of being afraid to take risks, because he takes some big ones. This movie is set in Spain, and it follows, it's not Spain, it's France. I'm already messing it up. It's set in France, very clearly, because France is actually kind of a underlying theme of the film a little bit. Not going to really elaborate upon that, but it follows this dance troupe in France, and it's at the end of their rehearsal, and they're having this big blowout party, and somebody spikes their sangria with LSD. That's where I got the idea of it being from Spain, because they were drinking sangria. Nonetheless, okay, the film basically goes on this crazy drug-fueled trip, and it really does kind of make you feel like you're tripping a little bit. I've never taken LSD. I can only imagine what it would feel like, and it kind of felt like watching this movie. So it could be completely off base. Once again, I would never know, and I probably will never know. But it's definitely, if you like a trippy movie, if you like something that's out there, weird, you're going to really enjoy Climax. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Second movie that I watched, I think all of these were first-time watches, which is also kind of rare for me. The Prestige from 2006, directed by Christopher Nolan. This is one of the few Christopher Nolan movies I had not seen up until this point, and this may be one of my favorites. This very easily shot its way up the list. I really liked this movie. It stars Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, and they play basically these dueling magicians in the 1800s in England. And, there's quite a bit of backstory to these characters. I'm not going to go into it for the sake of spoilers, but there's a lot of history between them. and the film, like, it covers a good portion of the time of their lives, and they kind of have this weird, like, little duel thing going on where they're trying to one-up each other for various reasons. So I really like this movie. I can see where the hype comes from, and it's a really solid one. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Third movie that I watched this month is The Elephant Man from 1980, directed by David Lynch. And I actually forgot, I have Blu-rays somewhere. Let me go find them. All right, we found the Blu-rays. Cheers, everybody. A little water to freshen the palate. Taking it easy tonight. This is the Prestige. I watched this Blu-ray copy. I do not own Climax on Blu-ray, so that one I did have to watch on streaming. I think that was on Max, if I recall correctly. And then The Elephant Man, of course, by David Lynch. This is yet another Lynch film that I needed to cross off the list. I think I'm halfway through his filmography. And, you know, since I really love David Lynch, I'm kind of trying to savor his films a little bit. So I'm not watching, like, a David Lynch film all the time, you know. Really trying to savor the first viewing experience for these movies that I have left. So this was another phenomenal one from David Lynch. Of what I've seen of his, I would put it near the bottom, just because it's not quite as, you know, awe-astounding as some of his other work, to me anyway. This is definitely the most grounded David Lynch film I've seen. It has some of those surrealistic elements, but it's mostly a pretty straightforward drama about a real-life person who had this birth defect, disease, whatever you want to call it, that caused his face and his body to be very disfigured. And he became known as the Elephant Man. And he was basically, you know, treated terribly by society and by humanity. He was put up on display at a circus. People paid entry to watch him. Like, you know, and then he meets Anthony Hopkins, who John Hurt portrays the Elephant Man, John Merrick in the film. I believe his real name was Joseph Merrick. Not sure why they changed the name, but nonetheless, John Hurt's performance is amazing. And that's why I watched this movie. I was actually watching the Criterion Closet video with Michael Shannon, and that's a fantastic video if you haven't seen it. But he really recommended this, and he talked about John Hurt's performance and how incredible it was. And I gotta say, I completely agree. He did so much with this role and really made you feel for this guy. This is perhaps the most empathetic film I've ever seen. It's really, really good. And it's something that I think every human should watch at some point in your life. It will make you a better person just by watching this movie. It's an incredible film. So this is, like I said, from 1980. For the Criterion collectors, it's Spine 1051, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. Next film that I watched, Shutter Island from Martin Scorsese. This is spooky season watch number 1. This, I feel it's a psychological thriller with horror elements. It fits into the spooky season. This is a very un-Scorsese film. This does not feel like a Martin Scorsese film, and if you showed me this movie without telling me what it was, I don't think I would guess that Scorsese directed this. This is such an out there film for him. At least from what I've seen, you know, I've seen about half of his films. You know, the stereotypical, you know, mobster movie, that's obviously not all he is, but this definitely didn't feel like his movie. That being said, I did really like it. DiCaprio gives an incredible performance. I liked the twist to the film, although I did see it coming. You know, some elements of it, not the whole thing, but some elements felt predictable. That's always a concern when you have a massive twist like this, but I think this is a really well done movie, and it's one that I don't know if I'd rewatch a lot, but is definitely fun, especially for a one-time watch. And it is, like I said, I think pretty well done, well executed. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. And then the last movie for the month of September, Last Night in Soho, directed by Edgar Wright. This is, I think, my second Edgar Wright movie. Some of his films just don't appeal to me, but I have seen, obviously, this one and Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which I really do like a lot. This one I was not as big of a fan of. I wanted to like this a lot more than I did. I got some really good recommendations for this movie. A lot of people, it was very mixed reactions. Some people loved it, some people really didn't like it. I'm kind of in the not so much liking it club. It stars Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy, and Anya Taylor-Joy is one of my favorite actresses, so I was really excited to see her in this movie. And I think she does good with what she has. My main problem with this movie is not the action or the acting or the direction. It's really the plot. I mean, it tries to go for this big twist. It tries to deal with a lot of themes about how terribly men can treat women. I just don't feel like it executed very well on those themes. I've seen a lot of movies deal with these things better and in a more creative way. I just felt this fell flat for me. I also think the horror elements, they used some CGI towards the end of the movie with some of the horror elements, and I didn't think that worked at all. It wasn't remotely scary, didn't look remotely believable or realistic. I just didn't like that at all, not one bit. I like some of the themes, like I said, that it tackles, and I like, some of the ways it told the story. It's very stylistic. I really like the direction from Edgar Wright. I like the soundtrack quite a bit, but this is overall just a mixed bag for me. I'm happy I own it, and I'll probably watch it a few more times in my life, but it's definitely not one I'm going to be reaching for every October. So this one I gave a 2.5 out of 5. All right, that is the September 2023 Letterboxd recap. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, stay tuned, especially if you're a horror fan. Stay tuned for the content in October. I promise there will be some videos coming, hopefully horror movie related. And then, of course, I also forgot to tell you, big thing coming in October, Killers of the Flower Moon, October 20th. It's going to be a huge day for me personally because some of my favorite musicians are releasing albums on that day, but also for the Scorsese movie. Excited to see that night one in the theaters. Can't wait. So definitely there will be a review for that movie up on the channel on the 20th, maybe even on the 19th. Fingers crossed I can get a Thursday night showing. That would be awesome. But that's in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. Have an amazing Sunday evening, guys. See you later.